Hey everybody, Mark Schultz here. Welcome. We got a little video snippet for you today that I think is really going to be exciting for you. And hey, listen, the topic is this, is it operational health, and what does that have to do with digital transformation? All right. You know that I'm all about digital transformation and how do we engage you in the subject of digital transformation. And so in order to do that, I'm bringing another expert to you online. And today here I have Jerry Cutler with me. Hey, good morning, Jerry. How are you?
Morning. I'm well. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Hey, listen, Jerry and I used to work together back at Boeing, and it was really fun. We did a lot of really interesting things. Jerry has got a super interesting background. You know, Jerry, you used to work at an airline, and what did you do for the airline?
I actually started on the ground fueling airplanes and loading them, and worked my way up to director in flight operations.
So you got a lot of experience in operations at the airline. That's great. And then at Boeing, you were involved in some really super cool technology, weren't you?
Right. We did a lot of new development, new solution development, in addition to new methods of working with customers with those solutions and on operational improvements.
Yeah, that's really great. So you combine this knowledge of operations together with technology, and that really brings together just this really interesting thing, which is what I'm really all about. And then Jerry and I worked together also in the area of consulting, and so Boeing had a consulting business, and we were in the middle of doing that. So it was really great. We had an opportunity to go visit some airlines, on site, and do some assessments and things like that. And so really a good run that we had. But hey, let's come back to what you're doing right now. Is that you told me that you were involved in operational health and balanced scorecards. Why is that critical to digital transformation? Really, tell me, what is this?
Okay, so you mentioned the work that we did at Boeing, and what I've done in my own company is taken it to the next level. I'm working right now with software houses, with manufacturers, as well as airlines and a regulator. And in all those cases, everyone needs to understand where they currently are. That's what operational health helps you with. We do an operational health study that says, where are you today? What are your mission, vision, values? What are your goals? Take a look at that, because that's your starting point. And if you don't have a handle on your starting point, it's really difficult to make progress forward. You tend to rotate where you are. The balanced scorecard takes the data and puts it into a framework that says, here are our goals, here's what we're doing, and here's how we're measuring it. And so that balanced scorecard is your way of keeping track of, yes, we're making progress. No, we're not. We need to change something. Are we really aiming at what we say we're aiming at? And it helps illuminate when the executives are saying, this is our goal and this is what we're doing, and the people on the ground think that this is their goal and this is what they're doing. And that gap has to be filled. And so through operational health and examining that, and examining the culture of the operation, whatever it is, we can help an airline baseline and start the first steps towards a transformation.
Okay, so it really sounds like you've taken this history you have of operations and your understanding of operations, and try to capture that into a way to be able to understand where an airline or an operation is, and what are their key performance indicators, and what kind of successes are they driving toward. Now, if I were to boil that down to something really simple, is that why is that so important? Just tell me again why that's so important to understand that.
Well, the simplest way I like to look at it, and I'll use an example, is that if you don't really understand where you are and where you want to be, and you're not using your data to validate and to quantify, in other words, turning just raw data into knowledge, into information that you can act on, frequently you will attempt to solve symptom problems rather than root problems.
Yeah.
And in one case, one of my carriers was trying to solve a symptom problem, and it turned out that the root problem was very simple, very inexpensive, and it had huge paybacks, but they'd wasted time and resources trying to solve the wrong problem.
Okay, so you're not spending time and money treating the results of the problem or the symptoms of the problem. You're focusing on the core root cause. and then
Right.
fixing that. I understand.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, I'm all about digital transformation, right, Jerry?
Yep.
And so, my belief is that, hey, listen, as a industry, we need to engage, and we need to move the industry forward further and faster, because it's, for so many years our industry has fallen behind, aviation industry in
Yep.
digital, and we're just not moving forward fast enough. And so what I would like to understand is that, now, how does what you're doing really relate to somebody being able to transform themselves digitally? Tell me how you put those two together.
So it gets back to being able to use the data that's available, right? It's if you continue to work, as many small carriers do, they continue to work with paper, then compiling that data and performing analysis on it is very cumbersome, very expensive. And so in some cases, they simply don't do it. So using the various enablers that are now available, whether you're large or small, to ensure that data is collected digitally and compiled digitally and analyzed digitally. In other words, leverage the tools, use the resources that are available, and there are many different levels of technical tools that do similar things on different levels of volume or different scale. By doing that, you're doing it effectively. You're not wasting resources, and that knowledge or that information that comes out of that process, that set of processes, is what you then refer back up to what we talked about a minute ago, about aiming your resources towards the root of your problems, not towards the symptoms. Ensuring that you really understand where you are and whether you're making progress or not. If you're not, you can have all the data in the world, you can have all the analysis, you can start down the right path with a solution towards the right problem. But if you're not measuring if you're making progress, then how do you know for sure you really are on the right path? And so it helps you to understand, hey, we need to make a course correction, or we're making good progress, we could do a little bit better, so let's tweak it a little bit, but in general we're right, or we're in left field and we should be in right field.
Yeah, got it. That all makes really good sense.
Yeah, it's a huge tool, and a lot of, one of the things that I see that combats it sometimes is just that momentum to not change. And this gives you a way to quantify the incentive to change.
Yeah, got it. Hey, that really brings me right into, Jerry, my opinion is that there's three major components to digital transformation, all right? One, you just said it, is that you need momentum. You need to believe that you can do this. You need to be enthusiastic about it. That's number one. Number two is you need to understand where you are in the operation and where you're going. That's the second most important thing. And that's really what you're talking about here right now. And number three, there's technology that's going to be infused into what we're doing. And when you put those three together, then you create the perfect situation or scenario for digital transformation. And so I really think what you're doing is really important, for people to be engaging and moving forward in digital transformation. But hey, let me move this to the next step is that
Sure.
you obviously are offering some services out there in the industry. What is it you're doing for people, if someone needed some of your services?
So what I like to do is get an understanding of an operation. It's kind of diagnose what the problem is before you prescribe medications. And so we do an operational health assessment. And when I use the word operational, I'm not talking about just ground ops or just flight operations. Because I don't always say maintenance and engineering and materials management, that I'm excluding them. When I talk about an operations assessment, we prefer to look at the entire airline and understand where they are, we start off with an executive briefing where the airline executives brief the team, the airline and my team, on what their goals are, what their vision and mission is. And so gaining that understanding is critical, and then we take them down the path of, here are where the challenges are, and here are some potential. And I like to talk about not solutions to a problem, I talk about capabilities that will solve a problem, because a capability is generic, right? And if you're using a whiteboard to to log your problems in your operation, it's really difficult to communicate a whiteboard. So there are many ways to communicate. You need the capability to communicate. It could be IM, it could be email, it could be, there are a lot of ways. The most effective, obviously, is the more technologically advanced and integrated communications tool, or whatever that is. But it's providing an operational health study that gives the baseline that then enables an operator, whether it's a factory, airline, or an MRO, allows them to then take a look at it and say, okay, now we understand where we are, some of our root problems, and some of the capabilities we need to resolve those problems. And we can decide, do we want to build it ourselves? Do we want to buy something? Do we want to have someone come in and help us? And that's what we do, is come in, help baseline, help understand, and then provide the information that enables a customer to make that decision, the make-buy type of decision, potentially including even helping them write an RFP. If it's, for example, if they're going to invest in some technology, you don't just go normally buy it off the shelf. You need to understand, Mr. Vendor, here are my needs. These are the capabilities I need. How do you measure up against this set of capabilities I want? So it's that process that we work through. If a carrier wants to do process improvement, or if someone comes to me and says, I want a point solution for X, my first question is, why do you believe X is the problem that you want to solve?
Yeah.
Have you looked at the root? Do you really understand? And so I help a carrier or an operator step back from it and do some of that baseline, so that they know for sure that their investment in a solution is going to be the right investment.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so the topic we've been talking about today, is operational health, balanced scorecards, understanding an operation, so those all are really important things to digital transformation. And I can see that with your experience and the people you work with, that you could bring a lot of value to somebody who needed to look at their operation and understand it better like that as part of their digital transformation effort. Now, if someone needed to get in touch with you, how do they get in touch with you, Jerry?
Simplest thing is ping me on LinkedIn, or you can go to my website. And I have two URLs. There is Envision, ENVISION, Envision aviationadvisors.com, or just eaviationadvisors.com. And that'll tell you a little bit more about me and about my partner in the business, who has the maintenance and engineering background, and there's a contact us page. Do that, or ping me on LinkedIn.
Ping me on LinkedIn. Okay, so it's Jerry Cutler, C-U-L-T-E-R, right? Okay.
C-U-T-L-E-R.
Oh, yeah, right. I can spell. Yeah, right. Okay. C-U-T-L-E-R, Cutler, Jerry Cutler, and that's with a G-E-R-R-Y. Okay,
yes.
Great. So if you want to catch Jerry on LinkedIn, go catch him on LinkedIn. And if you want to catch him on his website, it's eaviationadvisors.com. Hey, listen, everybody, thanks for listening to this video segment today. I think that some really interesting things you got going on there, Jerry. And it's really important to digital transformation. And I want to thank you all for being here today. And I wish you a goodbye, fair winds, and following seas to you. Have a good day. Bye.